Hi everyone, today we got another continuation higher through that previous high. That was what we were hoping for, and sure enough we got a nice run through the session. A little bit of a pullback here into the end of the session and the after hours, but so far so good on the thesis. Let's take a look at all of the charts as we head into tomorrow's session. Do me a quick favor and like and subscribe and watch the video till the end to help out the channel, and let's get started. In news today, we got the government officially shut down today, and what they're saying here is that the potential for that interest rate cut is now 100% in October, and that went higher into this government shutdown, hitting that 100% number, and then 88% chance for another cut in December, hitting that potential for 3 cuts this year, which was a little bit more than I kind of assumed that we would, especially considering the pretty good numbers we're getting from the economy. They are concerned about the jobs market. Full employment, the jobs data is definitely going to be interesting. This Friday, we'll see if that number affects the potential for cuts or not. And they do say government shutdown, potentially delaying some of the data, which means the odds are for a cut in October. So I totally agree with that. We're at that 100% number. The numbers are usually pretty clear cut. Are we going to get that cut? Definitely seems like we will. I think the December numbers are a little bit more up for grabs at this point, but we'll see what that jobs data looks like this week. We'll see what the revision looks like in the following month, but we should expect at least 1 cut, giving us 2 for this year, and then potentially a 3rd at the end of the year. Moving over to fear and greed, 52 from a 52, 53, somewhere in there. We really haven't moved over the last couple days. Neutral on momentum, strength, no movement there, still in greed, did turn up just slightly. Breadth continues to hover in regular fear, very little movement really across the board on this metric. Volatility, flatlining here today, safe haven demand, flatlining here. Junk bond demand, catching a little bit of an uptick. We'll see what that looks like on the J&K charts. That spread widening out here just a little bit. A wider spread generally means there's a little bit more risk for markets, and that is starting to turn up here just a little bit over the last day or two. Moving over to that economic calendar, you can see CPI for the Eurozone's basically in line with that 2% target at this point. ADP non-farms coming in pretty terrible. Previous number also revised down quite a lot from 54,000 to minus 3,000. So jobs data, not great. A little bit of a forecast for the upcoming data. If that is in line with this, I think we're going to be in pretty bad shape. I'm sure this is affecting those Fed interest rate percentages that we just talked about. But again, stronger data than expected on the manufacturing employment, manufacturing PMI, not super great. Still want to see it above the 50 line, but manufacturing PMI for the global above 50, still good there. Atlanta Fed GDP 3.8, very, very good numbers there. And then of course we have all of that data for the Friday. That is going to be the big impact. And you can see actually it is taken off the charts here. So we should have seen unemployment data for the Friday. Are we not going to get it this Friday? That is going to be interesting. Moving over to the S&P's charts here, you can see really nice run, basically straight up throughout the session. Hit this level here, gap down, touched the level, rallied up through the session. It was a little bit concerning early, but we did get the nice continuation that we expected. Up 1/3%. Momentum continues to be bullish here. And we're back above the SMA, so we didn't get a clean rejection off of there. Back above this level here, so the continuation continues to be in play here. Higher high setup now, so looking for continuation, at least 1 more candle or so, and then we'll see if we get a peak level there or not. You can see we're getting just a little bit of a pullback, but I would expect this to continue to go, continues to look bullish for me. Moving over to the Tasty charts, you can see we hit that upper band. That would have been your short-term price target around 667.90, 668. We talked about that area being the target yesterday, hit that area and then clearly rejected a little bit. I would expect this to hold this structure in here. 8 EMA, 667.35, touched that level already. Want to see it hold that zone. You can see buyers coming in that area, popped it up just a little bit, nothing crazy. And then looking at that daily chart, in line with everything else, held the 8 EMA, looking for that upper ATR band around 672.70. If we got into that area, that's probably going to be a bit of a sell. You can see every time we get to the upper band, pull back a little bit, hit the 9 EMA, rally back up. So far, that has been the thesis, and this seems like another iteration of that. Moving over to the NASDAQ, same thesis, up about 0.5%. New all-time high on the close, new wick high. Everything looks bullish, momentum bullish. RSI above the SMA, everything looks good there. And you can see straight up throughout the session, no red candles really at all. Closed above the level, everything looks good for new all-time highs, not an issue. And again, I'm sure we'll see some extension on the Tasty charts, but I do think we'll get at least 1 more bull candle here, and then we'll see what happens after that. Moving over to those Tasty charts, we just talked about your upper ATR band. Short-term price target is going to be 607. 0.03, so about another $4 of potential upside. If we do hit that area, I do suspect that will be the top of the markets in the short term. So you got just a couple more dollars. Watch for that. And then looking at the hourly, same as the SPY charts, right? We were in bullish conditions, rallied up, hit that upper ATR band, starting to see just a little bit of a hesitation there. I'm sure we'll pull back just a little bit, probably $1 or $2, maybe down to that kind of 650 cents area, and then get the continuation up back to that upper ATR band, volume coming in, everything looks good. Definitely buyers coming in today, as you would suspect and as we had expected from yesterday's charts. Moving over to the Russell and the Dow, the Russell did not look nearly as strong. It did go a little bit higher here, getting close to the highs from the Monday session, but couldn't hold all of those gains. It did pull back just a little bit. We're still above all the EMAs, so still like it to stay bullish, still looking for a 244.46 touch, but we're nowhere near those all-time highs the way that we are seeing on the other major indices. So structurally still bullish here, still low, higher, low setup. Still want to see a high, higher, high setup. Hasn't followed through on that quite yet. And you can see it on the daily chart, up just 0.22% or about 50 cents, nothing crazy. Momentum stepping back to bullish there, like that. RSI still below the SMA, don't like that as much. But either way, still looks okay here. And then Dow, right in line with those all-time highs on a closing basis. Didn't get all the way to the wick high from the Tuesday last week. We'll see if we can get there or not. Either way, though, this continues to look bullish, and I do think we'll get a little bit more continuation to the upside. No changes here really across all the major indices in terms of thesis. Moving over to the Mag 7. Mag 7 was very, very slightly positive, up just 50 cents, up 0.15%. Momentum still bearish, RSI still bearish. Still don't love this with a high, kind of lower high consolidation forming here. This is concerning, right? Want to see this pushing to new highs if we are going to see the continuation. And we've seen this before, similar to this, where you got extended, pulled back, had a consolidation at a lower high, pulled back one more time before getting that continuation. Do we get something like that where we pull back a little bit more, maybe down to here around kind of this 359 area in this previous high, and then we get the bigger continuation? Or is this truly the start of a top? That is what we're waiting to see. But the Mag 7 not leading us higher, not very bullish here. Moving over to Apple and Microsoft. Apple did finally go a little bit higher. High of day was 258.79. Didn't quite get to the level. 260.10 is the target. Still think we'll get a touch of that. Continuing to look pretty bullish for me. Still holding the trend structure. Want to see that 260 touch. Didn't quite get it yet. And then Microsoft continuing to do what we thought it would. Continuing to stay bullish. Did tag that trend line one more time, which was a little bit surprising, but finished bullish. Looking for this trend line here. Continues to look pretty bullish to me. Momentum bullish. RSI still bullish. Moving over to Tesla and NVIDIA. Tesla was the big winner for today, up 3.31%. We said everything continued to look bullish here. Still looking for the test of the trend structure, up around 488 to 490. Still think that that is in play. Still think this can go over the next couple days. Momentum bullish. RSI back to overbought conditions, but this is clearly a momentum play and it continues to look super strong there. And then you got NVIDIA, the stock we are currently long, or I am currently long, came back down, tested that level, briefly touched that level, and then rallied back to finish positive on the day, up 1/3%. Momentum still bullish. RSI still bullish. Still going to stay in this really until around probably 200 area, or if it breaks back below this level here. I was watching it closely, hit my alert there right on the 183.93 level, touched that level briefly and then rallied back up. Momentum still bullish, good volume on the day, so not too worried about it right now. Still closing well above the level. As long as it does that, looking for probably that 200 area. Moving over to Meta and Alphabet. Meta has had a pretty terrible time here over the last 2 weeks. You can see a lot of red bars in a row. Broke this level here yesterday at 736.67. We've had that level on here for a little bit now. Broke that level yesterday and fell even more, 2.3%. At this point, you have to assume we're probably going down to this kind of 670 area. Might have a little bit of support in here around 696 or so, but look at this volume, big volume coming in here. I think this will probably go a little bit more. And then you got Alphabet up a little bit on the day, 82 cents. Obviously, this is still super extended, right? You had a massive gap higher, continued to run gap and go style, pulled back to the 21, found a little bit of support. This kind of looks bull flaggy here. We rally up, bull flag, maybe look for that bigger continuation. Momentum still bearish. RSI still pulling back from super overbought conditions, but might have found a little bit of a base. Would like to see a retest hold continuation. Something like that would be nice. Moving over to staples and discretionary. Staples basically unchanged on the day, still in this kind of consolidation low. And then discretionary is catching a bounce. Again, a little bit more risk on and in line with what we wanted to see. So continuation there, up a little bit more than 0.5%. Want to see it eclipse this previous high. Everything still looks like a bullish structure to me. Moving over to 20 and 50-day breadth here. 20 and 50-day breadth pulling back just a little bit. Not what you wanted to see, just a little bit of a pullback. Still some support coming in at the 51.75 level. Basically no movement here on 50-day, down just 3%. Still above that 9 EMA. Momentum still bullish here. Wouldn't be too worried about it. Would have liked to see it go a little bit higher with equities moving higher at the same time. That would have been nice confirmation, but we'll watch this for tomorrow. Moving over to the dollar continued to sell just a little bit here today, but this did look a little bit more bullish, right? You have a big sell, gets bought back up into the middle of this range from the previous day. Again, sells to the low, double bottom, gets bought back up once again into the middle of this range, is selling a little bit more here, but hopefully it kind of holds in this area. This is starting to round off and look a little bit more bullish here soon. So I do kind of like it a little bit more today. And you can see it on the daily chart. Dipped low, wick rejection, finished above the middle of the candle. Momentum still fading a little bit. RSI though, still holding well above the SMA. Didn't get a retest there. Want to see it hold here and get that continuation. Still looking for some more bullishness on the dollar. Moving over to bonds, JNK hated today, down 1/3%. Big gap down. Honestly surprised. It looks a little bit more than 1/3%, but big gap through the level, big sell here, momentum bearish, RSI bearish. This is a big indicator of a little bit of risk off here today. Interesting that markets didn't really move with that, but definitely looks interesting there. And then looking at TLT, still holding the level, selling off just a little bit, down just 8 cents on the day, still holding above the level, 89.16. This should go a little bit higher with that potential cut coming in October. Moving over to my accounts, I did roll everything at the end of the session as I planned to do. Didn't do anything with the shares here. So rolled out to 601 for tomorrow. Q's right now up just a little bit after hours now, so that's a little better. IWM also up just a tiny bit after hours. So that was a little bit bearish. At the end of the session, it was kind of dipping. We talked about it. We looked at it on the charts, but that is up now a little bit more, just 62 cents credit on those for tomorrow. So looking for some bullishness out of that over the next day. Still looking like everything is going to stay bullish here, and then hoping for a little bit more NVDA rally tomorrow as well. I think that'll be a nice play. You can see even the dollar position was up just a smidgen today. I think that'll continue to go over the next couple of months. This is a long-term position out to December. So this is what we got right now, mostly bullish. You could argue the dollar, a little bit of negative deltas here, but I think the dollar can go higher with equities kind of hanging out where we're at. Let me know down in the comment section what you think of the government shutdown and the effects on potential cuts and the unemployment data not potentially coming on this Friday. Are we for sure going to get that cut in October? Does that for sure signal a cut in December as well? As 88% sound right to you? Let me know. Otherwise, like and subscribe if you got any value out of this video. Make sure you hit the bell so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Of course, none of this is financial advice. This is all for entertainment purposes. Good luck in your trading and have a great day.